I'm sure you have all seen that alarming statement, which is very damaging. From the outset, I would like to clearly state that the person with which, or the attribution, who is being attributed to have said that statement does not belong to the structures. He is saying he's a member of the presidential campaign team. The presidential campaign team is an ad hoc committee of the UPND. Ad hoc in the sense that it's not in the constitution of the UPND. It's recognized but does not make part of the UPND in terms of structure. So for the gentleman reportedly as Hachoombwe, Mr. Hachoombwe had no right whatsoever to speak for the party. He has no right to speak for the UPND, in that the UPND has a system on which to give statements to the press or to the nation. We are the party and the government. We have a relationship with the millers. There are some steps that we are taking, more so government part. Clearly, you have heard us over and over talking about a clear distinction between the party and government. The distinction is clear on issues that are government related. We have the Minister of Foreign, Minister of Information, that gives government statements. And on matters that are party related, we have a system, we have a Director of Information, we have Honorable Moitwa, with the party spokesperson, is the one who gives those statements. Not anyone who just comes from nowhere and then just gives a statement. My humble appeal to the media is maybe sometimes to find out whether someone who just claims to be the party member speaks for the party or not. We have this secretariat, we have the Secretary General who you can consult to see to it whether the person being quoted is speaking for the party. So that alarming statement, which is attributed to us, coming from a member of the presidential campaign team, does not deserve that headline. It doesn't at all. A statement by government that is attributed should be made clear by the Minister of Information or the Director or the Permanent Secretary. We also have another distinction. The information which is supposed to come from the State House. We have no right to make a comment on issues that are happening in the State House. So for someone just to come from nowhere and make a statement about a government position and a claim that as a party we are blaming the millers for being PF, that's very, very unfortunate. We have a very good relationship with the millers. We are aware that there is an increase in the price of milling. We have had meetings, government met with the millers to find out a solution to how the price of minimum should go down. Very constructive discussions indeed, because we are concerned about the welfare of the Zambian citizens. Before we could start implementing those measures, this Mr. Hachoombwe comes out with this dangerous statement. You heard from some government quarters that the government has instructed RFA to unload 250 metric tons of maize to the millers. And when we talk about millers, we're not only talking about big millers, but even those that are owning hammer mills. That is to show that for a person owning a hammer mill, some of these costs that are related, that normally are slotted in the costing of minimum. When you talk about a hammer mill owner, they don't include all that. So government's position is that those people also benefit from these bags, or the 250 metric tons, which has been given to the millers to start grinding. And then there is an arrangement which will be discussed by my colleague here, the chairman of the millers, on how we would like to bring down the price of the minimum. He will give you his position. He will talk about the relationship between us and the millers, the intentions that we have to make sure that our Zambian citizens are happy, the position which is clear will be alluded to by my colleague here. I would like to take advantage of this press conference to send a word of caution to the UPND members who have a habit or a tendency of going to the press and give unauthorized statements for any issue without the authority of my office. When such persons will be found or be heard to be giving statements to television, radio, or even writing in the social media representing the party or government, such people will be censured seriously. They will be censured very, very seriously because they do not have that authority. I also, as the Secretary General of the party, don't have the authority to speak for and on behalf of the government. So, if I do not have such powers myself, who is a member below me who can make that kind of careless approach to matters that border on the lives of people? People may just think that these millers are anti-government. Some youth may pick that statement and say the millers are fighting us. The next thing, a miller is injured because of one careless statement by an individual who has no authority to give that statement. So we feel that let that be the last time let that be the last time for anyone to give a statement unauthorized, uncoordinated, that will not be accepted. So we want to make it clear to the nation that we have a good relationship with the millers. We want to make it to the nation that some measures are being taken in place, are being put in place between government and the millers to ensure that the interest of the Zambian people will be looked at seriously, and that the issue of skyrocketing prices will be brought under censure. We'll control that and make sure that the Zambian people are happy. So please, let me repeat again, we will not accept anyone who will go to radio, television, and the print media and give unauthorized statements. If such people will be found, we will deal with them severely. At this point, I would like to invite my comrade here, who is the chairman of the Millers Association of Gambia, to give his position. Sir.
Good morning, colleagues. Thank you, SG, for that clarification over the statement. Dear colleagues, we are here to engage the Secretary General of the United Party for National Development over a statement carried out in today's headline in one of the print media, which we find to be so alarming and obviously damaging to an extent. And we thought that that statement was not only alarming, but obviously posing a very serious threat on our members of staffs, as well as on our properties and assets. You are aware that we are on record, and this is something that we have enjoyed, I think, from the time the UPND took over government. We engaged with the head of state, and we went to pledge our commitment to the head of state to work with the government of the day, which is UPND. I would like to state and set it very clear. We are non-political. We work with government of the day. Our allegiance and our support is to the UPND government. Therefore, the statement attributed to our colleague, who the SG has just clarified that is not even part of the structure, is not only alarming, but obviously it is damaging to a greater extent. We engaged the SG because we thought that such statements could actually affect the good relationship that exists between ourselves and the UPND government, including the UPND party itself. As such, we would like to condemn that statement, and I'm glad that SG has clarified the position of the party. We are working with the government of the day, and would like to re-emphasize this, SG. We are there to work with the New Dawn government. We are here to pledge and to continue emphasizing our total commitment in working together with yourselves. Currently, SG, we are working on certain modalities in addressing the issues surrounding the shortages that were reported recently in terms of minimum availability, as well as the price issue. So all these issues have been addressed, and obviously the implementation has started. In some parts of the country, the impact of these interventions have been noticed even now, and we are committed to this cause to ensure that together with government, we address the two issues: availability of mineral across the country, and also the price issue that has been a concern. So we have all the modalities in place, and we can assure the public and the nation that I think everything that has been put in place is well intended and is intended to ensure that the impact that the ordinary people out there are facing in as far as the pricing models or price prices that we've seen in the recent past. So prices have started dropping, and we can only assure the public that you will be able to see the impact of these interventions in the next few days to come, because what has been put in place is something that we ourselves as millers have committed to, and the Food Reserve Agency working with ourselves. We are working closely to ensure that the situation is normalized within the shortest possible time. So our dear colleagues, we are grateful that the SG has provided this platform for us. This has given us some comfort, because immediately we saw that, we felt that our operations were threatened. And now, listening to the SG clearing that, I would like to urge my millers and my members out there that you are protected, we are very safe. Let's continue servicing our Zambian people. We have launched what we call the Van Sales program to bring minimum closer to the communities in various localities in Lusaka and outside Lusaka. And now when that statement came, it was so alarming that we did not know whether we'll have to continue with this well-intended program. But now that the air has been cleared, I would like to urge my members to say, go out and do business. I think the SG has assured us that they will do everything within their means to ensure that we are protected and we continue to conduct business as it has been. And we're enjoying very good working relationships with the new Dom government, and at no point, at no time, have we ever been either PF or UPND. We are purely private business people, and our role is to support the efforts of the government, and that is what we are here to do. I thank you.
Let me end by stating that our president, as the Republican president, as the party president, is very clear over issues of corporate governance. Our president is from the corporate world, and he would like to have a very good relationship with businessmen, such as the millers. So his position is very clear. He would love the business community to operate freely. He would like the same way he would like to see the marketeers freely, the same way he would like to see the business operators freely. It's for the same reason that we condemned or banned Kadaism. So we are not going to allow it coming in a different form of people giving careless statements, when it's well known that the president actually admires and loves and continues to be a businessman, and he would like to have the interface with his fellow businessmen and continue to run this country in a manner which is convenient to all. So please, I would love you, maybe as my colleague here from the media takes over, to ask where you are not very clear.
Thank you very much, SG. Thanks very much, Mr. Secretary. And next, there are any clarifications, some quick questions. Daily Mail. Yes,
my name is Clever Mtita from Zambia Daily Mail. For a question for the SG. Having issued that statement to Mr. Beene Hachoombwe on that statement discovered of measures and another, do you have intention of summoning him to censure him regarding this, considering the impact that it has caused on the ground? The next question is on the millers. Miller's question is, you've highlighted that you've taken a number of interventions to help to stabilize prices and stability, availability of the commodity. Are you able to highlight some of the interventions that you've taken? And also, you mentioned that the price premium is coming down. Are you able to give statistics coming down from which to what? Just from that far on that. Thank you so much.
My name is Tito Kalam. I report to Ghana TV. I'll write on his question. Really, the question that takes answers, or what the Zambian people would want to know really. What is that magic bullet that you that you put in place to ensure that minimum goes down? What are those modalities, as it were?
Okay, so very busy.
Question I'm very busy. My question also is to Mr. Chintala. I just want to find out maybe more details. You've mentioned that you've launched the van sales program in Lusaka. What really does it involve? Do you have quantities involved there in terms of distribution? And also, secondly, you also mentioned that in some places the prices are falling. If you can have specifics, for example, maybe a district, which one specific, but it will be easier for our viewers to know. Thank you.
Okay, just let them respond to this question and then I'll get back to it. Maybe since it seems like Mr. Chintala is the target and holding the boom. So we'll ask him to be the first one to respond before the SG responds to this question.
Thank you, colleagues, for those very good questions that you've asked. The intervention, first of all, is that I would like us to appreciate that in any given situation, the establishment of the Food Reserve Agency, number one, the existence of the agencies that have to play the role of a strategic reserve to keep grain on behalf of the Zambian people. Now, when the government feels that there are price distortions in the market, like what we've seen in the past few weeks, price escalation and all that, which is caused by distortion, or rather by speculations and other factors, government through the Food Reserve Agency, through its establishment, this is the act, this is within the law, government to offload maize to millers in order to cushion the impact or to correct the distortions of the market. So the second one is that government, if at all the commodity is not available, government will intervene through the Food Reserve Agency. Again, this is within the Act. And this is one of the major interventions that the government has made. The current price of maize, colleagues, is between 5,500 and 6,000 per metric ton. The government's intervention by offloading this maize, they're offloading the maize at 4,000 kwacha per metric ton to the millers. So you can see the variance in there in terms of the open market price and the price at which FRA is offloading the maize. So just that measure, that intervention, will cause an impact. You are talking of the difference between 1,000 to 1,500. So really, that is a major step that should be able to see the stability in terms of minimum prices, and you see the prices are dropping. Yes, with a few millers in Lusaka, obviously, if you were to move around Lusaka and part of maybe the Copperbelt and Central Province, you will see that because of this intervention, the prices were ranging between 175 and 180. The prices now are ranging from 165 kwacha to about 170, maybe about 172. So those are the prices that we've seen from the time that this intervention was made. So we hope to see that this price obviously will roll out even in other parts of the country. Immediately some of these millers in respected or selected provinces begin to access this grain. So I can assure you that the intervention is working, and obviously in order to complement or to ensure that this intervention is felt almost immediately by our consumers, this is why we've talked about the van sales that we have launched within Lusaka. So if you look at some of these interventions, even on the truck, the price of 165 is written on it so that consumers even in the townships are not exploited. So what the van sales does is that you load your minimum and you start driving around so that you bring the commodity closer to the consumers, that even 1 or 2 bags you are able to buy off the truck. What we've noticed is that with these very good intentions, there are a few scrupulous traders that are still taking advantage of buying this minimum at that price and are going there to add abnormal margins, whereby I think consumers are being exploited. So to mitigate that, we appreciate that we operate in a free market economy where there are no price controls. And the new Dawn government has made it very clear they will not control prices, but all they will do is to create an enabling environment where business people like ourselves in the private sector must be responsible in the way that we conduct our businesses. So I would like to appeal to the traders, let us be responsible in the manner we conduct our businesses. Colleagues, You are buying at 165 and 170, then you want to go and sell minimum at 220. That's unacceptable. And now, because of these measures and because of these issues that I've raised, we are trying to take it further through these some of these initiatives that I've mentioned in terms of introducing the van sales and increasing on the outlets of the milling companies so that the consumers can access these commodities from our designated selling places, because then we are sure that you are going to pay the correct price, unlike what we've seen in some parts of the country.
Thank you. Just there was a question directed at...
Yeah, the question was coming from their mail, which they wanted a clarification on what we are going to do with this member of the presidential campaign team who has caused these anxieties. We are saying we have a system. A system is to put him on his defense, but already there is a proof. I have no doubt that what came out in the Daily Nation was something that they can prove to be correct. And if it's proved to be correct, an action will be taken against the culprit. That's what I can say for now.
I think the last question, come on.
It's okay. Yes, taken it.
Okay. So it means we have run out of questions, and we are very grateful to you members of the media that came at very short notice.
To cut you, I just have to ask, IG, can you say there is a breakdown in your communication structure under the UPND? That's why we have people issuing statements anyhow. Because we've seen sometimes you'll hear people walk in your office and they'll introduce themselves and say, no, I'm coming from the UPND, this section, and they've been issuing statements just like that. So is there a breakdown in your communication system? And then also, why is it that people in charge and responsible to respond to these questions sometimes are unavailable to respond to the media? That's why maybe we are seeing people give statements anyhow.
Number one, in every system, including your media, there is always a cantankerous person who imagines to pretend to be what they are not. We have a system. Why are we coming out with an idea of essential? You censure somebody from within the laid down conditions. There is no breakdown in communication, but we have some people that are irresponsible who give themselves the responsibility of doing what they're supposed to do. Secondly, I throw it back to you, the media. Here is an issue which is government related. Instead of directing it to the Minister of Information, you ask an SG who is not part of government. So when the SG says, sorry, I'm not available for comment, then say the party is hostile to the media. Asking someone who is not responsible to respond to a question that is supposed to involve State House. So when someone says, sorry, I'm not available for comment, that particular person is judged harshly. So it depends on who you target for which question. So please, if it is State House related, direct it to State House. If it is government related, direct it to the Minister of Information. If it's an issue which is party related, direct it to us and we will respond. If you look in the social media, you look in your own print or electronic media, you find that I respond to most of the questions, but I decline to talk about an issue which is government related. So those people, for example, most of you don't even know the meaning of PCT and how it came about and how it relates to the party. So when you get someone from an ad hoc committee and make him represent the entire nation, then again that is a bit of carelessness on the part of the author or not the author of that statement. When you say PCT as representing the party, that again, even within PTC, that gentleman has no position.
Thank you very much, SG and President Chairperson Chintala. I think this matter has been clarified. President Chintala has given the position of the Millers Association.